Metal Jesus, and I am back again, this time with a really interesting and special episode. I'm so excited to do this because I'm here with Dave.
Thank you, Metal Jesus, and we are going to show you how I make 3D printed game consoles, but these are no ordinary consoles.
No, these are super cool because
they are very, very small.
Alright, dude, so I know nothing about 3D printing, but I remember when you gave me a box full of these little mini consoles, I was blown away. And I'm dying to find out how these things are made.
So, the way these things are made is we make use of a type of 3D printing technology called Extrusion Printing, which basically works on a principle that I like to call toothpaste extrusion.
Okay.
And the way that works is you start off with a plate like this, and you put some blue painter's tape on it. Then you grab your hairspray and spray it on. I'll show you.
Hairspray.
Very technical process.
Why is it hairspray?
We'll cover that.
Oh, okay.
You'll have to sign a non-disclosure agreement on that one.
Okay.
So the way it works is the 3D printer has a head which heats up plastic and it warms it up and then squirts it like toothpaste onto the outline of the shape of the console, moves down the tray a little bit, does the next layer, and you just keep going on and on until the thing appears.
I watched a documentary recently, I think it was about Maker, and they were talking about sort of like how this industry is being just, growing leaps and bounds. People are really excited about it. Now you brought a Maker here, which we're going to show. Tell me about this 3D printer. About how much do they cost? Are there a bunch of different models for it? How does it work?
Right. So the kinds of 3D printers you can have at home range from between about $500 at the low end to about $4,000 or $5,000 on the high end. Okay. So the MakerBot 2, which I'll be showing you now, is a model that's actually been discontinued, but it cost me in the $2,000 range when I got it. And it's got some fancy features which, at the $500 range, these things are advancing so fast. It's kind of like graphics card in the old PC days.
Okay. Yeah.
New stuff was coming out so fast, the price was dropping. With a $500 printer, you can do amazing things today.
Well, and even $2,000, I mean, that seems totally reasonable for some of the amazing stuff you can do. So we're not talking like $10,000, $20,000.
No, not at all.
I'm curious, so you obviously have to have the 3D printer, but where do you get the designs for these things? I mean, how did you know how to create a Commodore 64?
Right. So a 3D printer is just a tool, like anything else. You buy a 2D printer and all it does is just spit out whatever you tell it to.
Sure.
So there are generally two things people do. First is you can go to a site like thingiverse.com and you can download other people's designs and print them out, which is fun for a while, but eventually you want to do things that nobody's done. Right. So there are different CAD programs, a lot of them open source and freely available, that you can get. I like to use one called OpenSCAD, which basically use something that looks like computer source code because I'm a computer guy, but there are also visual editors you can use. You design your machine in OpenSCAD, you export it to a format called STL, which is what the 3D printer eats. You arrange it on a virtual printing, you press a button, put it on an SD card, give it to your printer, and an hour or so later you got your mini machine.
Huh, that's pretty cool. So to start off with these different consoles and different computers, did you measure them? Did you jump on the web and get their dimensions, or what did you do?
Yeah, that's a question I get asked a lot, actually. I decided from the beginning that instead of trying to make like an exact replica, which would be cool, I thought rather let's do a kind of caricature, like a cute, like super deformed version of each one. So what I do is some of these machines I have at home, so I'll kind of sit with it for a while and hold it in all different angles and kind of get a feeling for what are the things that are distinctive about it. Like on the Commodore 64, it's got the bread box shape and the big gray keys, right? So you want to make sure those are in there. And if it's a machine that I don't know, then I'll just jump onto Bing Image Search and kind of look through a bunch of pictures and kind of get a feeling for it. And then I will do a couple of sketches on paper and say, okay, that's it. And then jump onto my computer and start playing with CAD. And where everything looks good on the screen, then push it to plastic.
What I also like about yours is that you don't just stop there. Like with the NES, you of course made the controller, right? Because you need to have the controller there. Also, you guys saw in the intro, you also created the cartridges for the, because I actually asked them, I'm like, dude, we're gonna do the intro, we're gonna have like a little mini Hero cartridge, and you were like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, there's certain things that are really iconic, and what I want to do with these machines is I want people to look at them and go, "Oh man, I remember that."
Yeah,
that was so
like
cool.
the mouse with the Apple.
Right.
Yeah.
So I will look at. There's certain things that you just know, like. Why do people love the NES? I mean, the controller is almost more popular than the machine, right? The machine is a brick, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you got to have that. And the same thing goes with the cartridges on the 2600, because everybody had hundreds of them lying around. So it's when you look at that, you're going to go, oh, dude, I remember my basement was full of these things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of about looking at it and kind of saying, what was really iconic? And what is going to trigger people's nostalgia and get them really excited about this stuff again?
So another question I have is that you've got different colors here. So you mentioned the painting, right? So do they typically come out white or black, or how does that work?
So you can buy filament, which is the kind of raw material that the printer eats. And it comes in a whole range of colors. You can go and buy different colors. Unfortunately, you don't get that nice cigarette stained color as a filament for some reason. So what I typically do is I'll print in two colors, black and white. Black for the parts that are black and white for everything else. So I use one of two kinds of paints to paint these plastics, either regular Rust-Oleum spray paint, which you get at the hardware store, or I will use the little paints that people who build model airplanes and stuff use. Yeah,
sure.
Do your little details with that and it works out just fine.
So, so for instance, this, I'm dying to know. So like this is the Atari 2600. You have the little switches here. So there's this, the heavy sixer right here.
This actually consists of 9 parts. So you've got the top black part, then the foot, the faceplate, which we printed in white, and the switches, each of which we print in white. So print these in white, spray them yellow, then this one we spray in this kind of cinnamon walnutty color, and then I take a pen, do the wood grain on, and then that's it. Glue everything together with regular old super glue, and you've got yourself a 2600.
Wow, it's awesome looking. That's so cool. So I want to get into the different types of 3D consoles here because they're so awesome. I'm going to start with my first, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier, the Apple computer here. Now you'll notice that I've actually glued this together because I was afraid I was going to lose them, but you originally printed this with the computer and then the keyboard and the mouse separate.
Yep. So this is actually our bestseller at the moment. We have a lot of Mac fans who enjoy going back in time. So we've got a little screen of the old Mac OS X8.
How did you do the screen?
So the way we do it is we print the body, which is this part, separately. Then we'll apply the sticker, and then we'll put the front part on.
Okay, so it's a sticker that you create?
Yep.
So you just did a little screenshot?
You do a screenshot, you print it out onto sticker paper, and you put it on there, and that's it. And that's how we do the other things like the Apple logo that's over there, and the Atari logo, and the labels on the cartridges and that kind of stuff.
So all at home. I mean, just basically with it's amazing.
It's
so cool.
all at home with a bunch of toxic chemicals, so you can do anything.
Of course, we showed a little bit of the NES. A fantastic job on this, by the way. I mean, it's so awesome. And again, I glued the controller on the top there simply because I just didn't want to lose it. It would have broke my heart, but so killer. Next up, this is the Commodore PET, which I hadn't even seen in a long time.
Yeah. So this one I was inspired to create because we went down to the Living Computer Museum where they have a lot of these machines, and it's just so chunky and 60s, right?
But that, I mean, the trapezoid look to it.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. The thing that I look for in a design as well is, and the NES shows this really well, is when you've got things that are very geometric, then it's very easy to replicate them, right? Things that have a lot of curves and so on are much harder. Yeah. So a lot of people ask me like, oh yeah, can you do like a Sega Genesis? It's like, that's all curves, dude. That's really hard. So when things are very much like squares and angles, then they come out really, really nice.
I see. Okay. Well, interesting, huh? Of course, we have the Commodore 64, which has a bunch of different stuff in here. Well, for one, you also printed the drive, which is a huge part of the Commodore.
The drive.
You got to have the drive, and so again, I attached it here, which is because to me they're the same, right?
I like this.
All it needs is like that little, I think it was like an Epix joystick, they used to use.
Oh, that's right.
There you go. So, and then of course, the Atari, X?
That's the 400.
400, okay.
Yep. This one is very cool because, again, it's got all those cool 1970s shapes and it's all angles, and this one just looks the part, actually.
It looks like something that they would have used on the, I don't know, like the bridge of Battlestar Galactica. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Like Commander Adama would have been typing into it or something.
Into all 2K of memory.
Yes.
That's right.
And then finally, of course, for our British fans here, the Sinclair Zx80.
That's right. The Zx80. That's right.
Did I do that right? And so this white here, this is typically how it comes out, right?
That is kind of raw white plastic, yeah. Okay. So the reason we did this was So spent most of my life living in South Africa, and there was a huge British influence in terms of computing. So we used to look at the Macklin catalogs, and we used to play with the ZX Spectrum and so on. So when I saw the kind of white stuff getting printed, I thought, man, that looks just like a ZX80. And this one is just very cool. There's a lot of cool history behind this machine.
Yeah. So obviously these are the models that you gave me a couple weeks ago, but even since then you've made some newer stuff, right?
Yeah, I will. Whenever I see a machine that looks interesting, I'll try and create it. And so typically it takes 3 or 4 days of solid work to kind of get the CAD model done. And we have a lot of people who stop by the online store and say, hey, could you make me this? We've had people ask us for the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, and so we're always having new ideas coming by, and we're always playing with new things. So,
well, where can people find these?
So we're on Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook, and search for Rabbit Engineering.
Yeah.
You'll see the logo that looks like this.
Very
That's
cool.
how you know it's us. We also have a website, www.rabbitengineering.com, and if you want to buy our stuff, store.rabbitengineering.com. And we have a coupon available for loyal viewers.
Yay, loyal MetalJesusRocks viewers, because that's the first thing when I saw these. I'm like, people are going to want to buy these. They're awesome.
We want people to enjoy them, so that would be great. So you pile your cart full of stuff to the chocolate block.
Yeah.
And then you go to the checkout and you enter We Hot Metal Jesus. I guess we'll put that in the comments.
Okay, yeah, we will.
Okay.
So down in the comments below, we'll put a link to his site as well as how to do the coupon.
Right, and it'll be 10% off your whole order.
Cool, very cool.
All right,
man. Well, hey, this is so interesting, so fascinating. It's funny because again, it's like when I took these into work and I was first looking at them, so many people are like, "Oh crap, I got to get into 3D printing." As a matter of fact, Drunken Master Paul, my buddy, he wants to buy one now. So
great.
People are fired up about it, man. It's definitely very cool.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks very much for coming on my channel.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for watching, guys, and take care. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Something a little different, trying to keep things interesting and new. Speaking of interesting and new, I release a new video every week, so go ahead and subscribe. You also can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and check out my new website, MetalJesusRocks.com.